something you can't fix.
If you can't fix what's broken, you'll go insane.
It's Jay and Adam. It's Preview.
It's Preview's Fix It with Adam and Jay.
Hey, peaches! Welcome to Fix It, where friends don't let friends fix pop culture alone.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Jay, and you're our listener.
Well, hey there, listeners.
Hey there, ho there, hi there, listeners. I hate me too.
Jay, it's okay. It's almost 9:30 on a Sunday night, bud. Who knows what's about to happen?
That's right, baby. It's about to get wacky. It's about to get weird. And as a special little treat, we have producer Brian in the studio.
Hello there, gentlemen.
And we got him his own mic.
That's right. Masquerade. Paper faces on parade.
Dude, I hate you so. We're testing the mics before we started, and we're like, oh, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3, and it goes to Brian. He's like, Masquerade. I'm like, that's gonna be stuck in my head for the rest of the week. That's the worst thing you could sing during a mic check. I don't need Phantom of the Opera just banging around my brain.
Oh, that was Phantom?
Mm-hmm.
Of the opera.
Oh, I had no idea what you guys. I thought you guys were just making that up. I didn't know that was an actual song.
Oh, are you being serious right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hi, everybody. And I'm Adam.
And welcome to Fix It. You may know us as Adam and Jay from the absolute the red dwarf son of a YouTube reaction channel podcast.
Wow.
A veritable black hole of awesomeness of reactions and nerd content on the YouTube platform. Previewed. You may know us from there. You also may know us from all them banks we robbed back in 72. But this is our show, Fix It, where every week Adam and I come together and we take a piece of pop culture that maybe missed the mark, maybe didn't quite get there, maybe just needed a couple extra parsecs to get there.
I
Maybe
see
just
what you
a
did.
couple extra, and we fix it. And this week we are going to be fixing the Star Wars Legends, or what is it? What
It's a Star Wars story, Jay.
Star Wars story. The Star Wars story, Solo.
It's a Star Wars story, Jay.
The Han Solo vehicle.
Solo. The final... No, it should have been. It would have been nice if it was. The next to last Star Wars movie Disney's made.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Jay, we've been goofing and gabbing all week. It's been a fun week. And I'm just now realizing, getting back into the mindset of, oh yeah, what was it like back in 2018?
Brian, when did this one come out?
2017?
This came out in 2018.
2018.
Last Jedi was 2017. This was 2018.
6 months later. And then, yeah. Getting back in the mindset of, hey, remember what Star Wars was like back then? And it's slowly been dawning on me as you've been talking, like, oh yeah, it was a dark time in the galaxy. I remember how I feel when this movie came out.
And that's actually the reason I initially, watching it for this show was the first time I actually had watched this movie. And I'm actually kind of bummed about that because I personally had such a sour taste in my mouth after The Last Jedi that I specifically didn't go see Solo.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish that I went because as much as, we've watched some stinkers the past couple of weeks. There's been some ones that have truly not quite gotten there. But this one, I actually like. This movie across the board, I actually had a good amount of affection for watching through.
Okay. I mean, overall, this is the best Disney Star Wars movie.
I would agree.
Of the 5 that they've made so far.
Yeah.
This is the best one.
Absolutely.
This is the one that's the most rewatchable.
Yeah.
I mean, it leads to a whole lot of nothing, and that's probably one of the problems of this movie is were they trying to set a lot of stuff up when they really shouldn't have been.
I don't know. I think when you're a Star Wars property, you kind of have to.
I feel
like you gotta swing for the fences a little bit. You gotta give yourself plenty of runway. Lashy, look at me. Look at me. Look at her.
I'm looking at
It's word of her. Where's Lyle? Rachel. I gotta pick one. It's either producer Brian or Adam.
We are Jay. I'm wearing the shirt. All right. I know who you're picking.
Oh man. I'm picking Rachel, obviously.
Surprise! You got me!
Screw you
Yay!
Oh man. This look. We're now living in a time in which it's like Star Wars not getting a full trilogy is a relatively new concept. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, you gotta swing for the fences with these kind of things because, like, of course you're gonna get a couple more movies because it's Star Wars. But then, whoopsie doodles.
Oops! It was too late to reshoot this movie for a third time. Oh no!
Yeah. I'm actually, like, unclear as to what all those issues ended up being with the reshoots. I think, I know.
Oh, I'm sure we'll get to it.
I know we
with...
have Brian chomping at the bit over there to let us know.
Wait, what'd you say?
I said steak, Brian.
But before we get to Brian and all of this, because this is a whole thing. Hey, Jay. Mm-hmm. How you doing, bud?
I'm great, man. I got a big old cup. I got one of them big Stanley cups, and I'm just sipping and dreaming away, baby. I'm actually good. I'm actually really good.
Why are you so good?
Well, it's nice to be back in the flow of making stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's back. It's fun having like a full-ish schedule, and we kind of have like a new mindset with all the stuff that we're making. And like, I feel like when you're content creators and when you're like making stuff, this kind of work we're a pneumatics system. Is the way to look at it. Like we are a water-based system.
Okay.
And so when there's like water in it, it runs relatively smooth.
Sure, yeah.
It's when we have like the little hiccups and like there's not water in there, that's where stuff gets weird.
Too many air bubbles in the system.
But like, yeah, if there's an air bubble or anything, that's when things like back up and bop you a little bit.
Sure.
You know how them pneumatic systems just
I do know how pneumatic systems work. I'm as interested. Yeah, okay. Good metaphor, Jay. Keep going.
Yeah, but having a good amount of stuff that we are interested in watching. I mean, not necessarily bad, bitch. But
hey, it's been 4 episodes. 3 were really good. The 4th one was decent.
I know. I'm the lone wolf when it comes to Bad Batch. When I'm just kind of like, I don't know about this one, y'all. It's like, you better watch it. I'm like, I'm gonna. I just,
You're forcing me to. I don't have a choice.
I don't know. Everybody was like, I'm like, okay. I'm here. I'm not. It's fine.
It's fine, Jay. That's the way I am about The Last of Us, so it's fine.
Oh,
I wouldn't watch it if it wasn't for.
Not at all.
No, not at all. It's an amazing show, and it deserves all the awards it's going to get. But I would not actively seek out sad show. So
sometimes you like sad show.
No, I don't.
Like you liked like House of the Dragon. That was a sad show.
Yeah, but I mean, but that is
you
well.
Think you would have watched House of the Dragon if we had
House of the Dragon is balanced well with action and some good guys winning stuff. I would argue
that The Last of Us also has action.
Action, but like action in like people are dying left and right, and it is sad.
Yeah.
In House of the Dragon, bad guys get hurt. Good guys get hurt.
I stopped watching Breaking Bad because of that. I stopped watching The Walking Dead because of that.
Yeah.
I think we as a culture. I think we just need to tell the people in Hollywood that are making stories and making stuff and be like, hey everybody, the lesson of humans are the real monsters. Yeah, we live that kind of every day. It's not revolutionary. I'm over it. Can you knock it off just a little bit? Oh man, the real bad guy was our own human nature. I'm like, man.
I know, yes.
Dude, I'm just trying to have a chill Sunday night, bro. I am just trying to it turns out the monsters weren't actually all that bad. Oh man. Yeah, no, so I get it. But also like mushroom zombies, like that's fun.
No, it's not. To a guy who hates zombies and hates fungus. Yeah, this is the worst combination ever.
You heard it here first, everybody. Lashy hates fungus.
I do.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah.
I mean, it's necessary for the biosphere, but if I had my way, I'd burn it all to the ground.
Tell me more about how it's necessary for the biosphere.
Well, you see, Jay.
He just said big words in a way that I was like, he does not expecting me to ask him any further questions.
Oh, do you want the answer?
Hit me with a hot note. Watch
Okay,
me
well, the
bounce.
fungus helps digest all of the dead things that die in the forest and stuff like that. It keeps the cycle of life going.
So you're saying The Last of Us is kind of like the circle of life kind of thing?
I'm going to, Producer Brian here, perhaps move to the next segment of how you're feeling.
I thought Brian was going to sing The Lion King.
Oh, no.
But
I would say,
We can't afford those rights.
yeah. Yeah. I hate pizza on my... No, that's not... I messed that up. I was going to say, I hate fungus on my toes, but I love it on my pizza. But I said, I hate pizza on my toes, which I also hate.
Do you though? If you really tried pizza on your toes, though? No, I'm doing all right, man. Kimberly is well into her second trimester, so she's feeling a lot better. So things are really good in our house.
that's great.
Yeah, we went to the mall the other day.
How was that?
Oh, who doesn't love a mall? Do you like a mall?
I haven't been to a mall in almost 4 years, Jay.
You want to go to the mall with me? I got a car right now. We can go to the mall.
Maybe?
You want to go Cheesecake Factory?
No.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Where would we eat if we went to the mall? We got to eat. Would you go to Chili's with me?
Sabaros?
The bounty is in front of us. Just a whole kingdom, or dare I say, a court of food is ahead of us.
Aunt Annie's?
You live in New York City and you would go to Sabaros?
I don't know.
Wait, what did you say?
Aunt Annie's?
Auntie Anne's?
Auntie Annie.
Pretzels? Do you
yeah,
you like a pretzel?
I love a pretzel.
You need a pretzel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're gonna go to dinner. Like we go to like Chili's or something, you know? They have a Johnny Rockets at the Palace.
Ooh, Johnny Rockets. I do like Johnny
Okay,
Rockets.
we'll go to Johnny Rockets.
I do like 50s diners.
Sabaro.
It's like the Michael Scott joke. Where he's in Times Square. He's like, the best pizza in New York. Sabaros is behind him. Oh, his face was incredible.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm good.
That's great.
I'm good, baby. I'm good. Yeah, so Solo.
This movie. This is a movie that I watched. The first time I saw this movie was actually when I got Disney Plus a couple years ago. Because I didn't watch, again, like, remembering what it was like 5 years ago, right after The Last Jedi. And they pushed this movie back.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, when are we going to release it? And they're like, oh, wait a second. Maybe we should not release it that close to Last Jedi. And The Last Jedi came out, and then the apocalypse happened. And the fan base was divided and schisms everywhere. There was, oh my God, it was just a bad time to be a Star Wars fan, no matter what side of the aisle you were on. And then like, hey, maybe we should release Solo in 6 months. And everyone's like, how about you don't? Oh, you are? Hey, guess what? We're not seeing that movie. Like, it was, and you know what? This movie is not offensive.
No.
And it sucks for this movie.
I actually enjoyed watching this movie.
There's a lot
of things
there's a lot to
it.
like in this movie.
Hence, there's a lot to like. Like, I think this movie across the board understood what I wanted as a Star Wars fan out of a Han Solo like origin story. Like, cool. I want to see him meet up with Lando at some point.
Absolutely.
Great. Nailed that part. Like, I'm sorry, Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian is
The best part of the movie?
This is the best part of the movie. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
I forgot how charming he's just
love it. But also, like, I want to see how does he meet Chewie? Do I disagree with how they did it?
Oh,
completely.
absolutely.
But I want to see that.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see him make the Kessel run in 12 parsecs.
Yep.
I want that.
That retcon was the smartest thing in the movie.
Yes.
Donald Glover, the best person in the movie. That retcon of how he did it in 12 parsecs.
Yeah.
The best retcon. Like, that was very smartly done.
Yeah. And I truly, like, honestly, L3, great. I thought it was a great character. I clearly, from the look on your face, you disagree wholeheartedly, but that's fine. And her being part of their targeting computer when it came to their stuff, I thought was really fun. But also,
Okay.
don't. No. This isn't the right energy I want at our table right now.
Okay.
No. This is the like, okay. Oh, you think you're gonna beat me in that ski race down the mountain? Yeah, I'm gonna take that Rex.
I'm taking the rec center, buddy. And then I'm just gonna burn it down right in front of you.
That's not what I'm looking for.
I mean, L3 was a choice, but also it just seemed like, oh, do you know that little oscilloscope that's in the back of the Millennium Falcon cockpit? Here's how it's there. I was like, oh, that's ultimately what this was for? Yeah, that's not a okay.
I think they
that's a little weird.
Set it up a little bit more. I mean, there are a couple of lines where they talk about like how how their targeting computer is like unique specifically, because I mean that's really how that's like the constitutive part. We don't have to get into that. That's not neither here nor there. But, ultimately, like we've never seen Kessel before, and
we have not seen Kessel.
I really want to see Kessel.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think the most Han Solo thing about this movie was when we first meet up with the Millennium Falcon. It is a pristine,
it's
work of ship,
gorgeous,
and Han Solo riding that thing like he stole it. And all the ways that they showed that, like when he like lands it and like pulls around and I was like, yep, yeah, that's why the landing gear never worked again.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, because he drives the shit out of that thing, and it's awesome. That's really what I need of a Han Solo movie, and I feel like they gave that to me. There's a lot of like hanging chads here that I feel like we're gonna clear up.
Oh, sure.
But like I feel like they had a good frame of reference as to like what this character inevitably is.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I think before we get too much further into it,
you want to race to save the rec center, or
Jay, we've been racing the whole time, and I've already won.
That's fine. That's fair.
You should jump off the start line at any point. As I take my shades off. Yeah. Or I'm gonna start my sea goggles. Yeah. Hey, Brian.
Yes.
Do you want to come over to my seat and give us all these fun bean facts?
Brian, it's time for that beautiful bean fun fact footage.
Cheer swap. Cheer swap. And I've still got a mic.
Thank you, gentlemen. Producer Brian here. Today we're trying to fix 2018's Solo, A Star Wars Story. This movie is directed by Ron Howard and starring Alden Ehrenreich, Emilia Clarke, Donald Glover, Woody Harrelson, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge. It started as a Miller and Lloyd joint, but then they parted ways due to creative differences, and then 70% of this movie was reshot with Ron Howard. Michael K. Williams was originally supposed to play Dryden Voss, but he could not come back for reshoots, so that's why Paul Bettany plays him in the current movie.
That sucks. I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
It's like, look, regardless of how good the movies are, everyone wants to be in Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, that's not fun.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Eh.
For sure. It cost around $275 to $300 million, and it made $393.2 million.
Is that total with both of the reshoots?
What do you mean?
Yes,
okay. That's the $300 million is like all in.
Gotcha.
It may not include marketing because honestly, this is just what Wikipedia tells me.
It's probably
but a lot of those numbers don't include like
right.
the marketing budget, which they sometimes don't disclose at all because of how much money it actually costs.
Freaking lot of money.
Yeah, especially Disney. If you care, this has a 69% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Nice.
It is not the lowest rated Star Wars movie.
And it shouldn't be.
No
way.
Some things that are lower than it are Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, Rise of Skywalker.
You keep those Ewok movies out of your mouth right now.
No.
Brian.
No. Do you guys know what the highest Rotten Tomatoes Star Wars project is?
Jedi?
No.
The episode 3.
No. It's Rebels. Has a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, counting. Oh, I was just thinking movies.
I was just thinking movies.
Do you know what number 2 is? It's not a movie, it's a TV show. It has 93% on Rotten Tomatoes as of the we're speaking.
Mando?
What'd you say?
Mando?
No.
Really?
No, not Mando.
Book of Boba Fett, obviously, with the sweet boy Boba Fett.
No, but this is Boba Fett has like a 66. This is 69. Andor with a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
That
Yeah.
makes sense,
I mean,
actually.
it deserves it.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised that people. Andor's funny. It was very good. But like, even though a lot of people were talking about it, not many people like were talking about it to their friends about like.
Totally.
It was not the cultural touchstone.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
But that being said, I think it was the show everyone was watching, but not necessarily talking to other people about.
Sure.
Yeah.
If people talked about how good this was the same way that they talked about how much they disliked Boba Fett, we'd have a very different conversation.
Yeah.
But some things about Han Solo in general, originally in the pre-production, they were trying to get a young Han Solo into Episode 3, where he's helping everybody on Kashyyyk in the final battle.
No.
That obviously is not in the movie. That didn't make it
No.
past the Lucas's desk. But after that, they were trying to develop a TV show of a young Han Solo, and then they were trying to do a movie of a young Han Solo. This is with George Lucas, and then he sold Lucasfilm to Disney.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then this movie is what caused Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm to cancel all of the other planned Star Wars story movies. That's when Obi-Wan moved to the Disney Plus, and they started pushing all the Disney Plus stuff.
Which is such a shame because I actually think Obi-Wan would have been better as a movie.
There's a cut online of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show where they reorder things. They cut a lot of things out.
Yeah,
They actually, one of the biggest changes, which is fascinating, I watched it, is that they cut out all of the other brothers and talking about Reva behind her back, because they undercut her power by saying that like she's not this, she's not that, so that she actually seems more menacing because no one is questioning what she's doing. It's fascinating. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, but it was supposed to be a movie and then this is when Kathleen Kennedy was like, "Oh, we didn't make a lot of money back from this." So yeah, that's
it's not this movie's fault.
No, not at all.
No, it's not.
They've never revealed what those creative differences were.
Oh, really?
Like, Lord and Miller have been from what I've read, have been like super courteous. Like, it just didn't work out, whatever it is. You know,
it's like when Edgar Wright left Ant-Man. He's just like,
the assumption is that they wanted to make it a Lord and Miller movie with a little bit more humor, a little bit more comedy, tongue in cheek.
I think it would have been probably a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, that's probably
because
true.
Han Solo's funny.
Yeah,
that's one thing this movie kind of forgets.
Yeah. So since I'm here in the studio, I wanted to present my fix.
Okay.
But hear me out. I have rules.
Okay.
All right.
I cannot really go above and beyond what they have here.
Sure.
Mine are about tweaks that you would make with that would actually improve this incrementally, but not changing the whole entire movie.
All right.
So this is not like a full narrative. This is just like things I would maybe tweak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The first thing is you don't make this movie.
Yes.
But that's neither here nor there.
Absolutely.
Okay. The second thing is you do as amazing as Alden Ehrenreich is.
He's very good.
He's amazing as Donald Glover is.
Yep.
You don't use them.
Oh.
You de-age Harrison Ford and Billy D. Williams.
Really?
Wow. If you're going to lean into Mandalorian season 2, and having Mark Hamill's face be there and keeping everything consistent, you cannot have the inconsistency of that.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
I'm just saying that I think that changes people's opinion because he's good in it, but I think that changes the entire performance because then you have Harrison Ford. Obviously, he didn't want to do this.
He didn't want to do it, yeah.
But you have him because he knows the character. You have that swagger, whatever the case may be. I think that's something that you can do. And then I think there's a lot you can change in there, but I think that's the one thing that you change about this. Even if you kept the same script with that, it's a different movie.
Absolutely.
That is buck wild.
The second thing that you do is you actually change the Book of Boba Fett and you make it Crimson Dawn in Book of Boba Fett. So
instead of the Pikes,
so you're tying in this movie, and maybe you have Kira, maybe you don't, but if you're going to use Crimson Dawn in this, and your goal is to put everything in the same timeline, you use Crimson Dawn in the Book of Boba Fett TV show because let's just put it all together. Those are my basic fixes that would improve this incrementally without changing anything drastic. Obviously the de-aging is drastic, but script is the same. I'm not trying to reshoot new things and whatnot. Anyway, that is all. Thank you, gentlemen.
Well done, Brian.
Well done, Brian. Thanks, buddy. de-aging them. There's no they're like
Riker sit.
Billy D would be so in for that.
Oh, he
and
absolutely
Harrison
would.
Ford would hate everything.
Harrison
about that.
Ford wanted to die in Jedi. He was ready to not be in any of these movies again, which is sad. Which means he should not have been in The Force Awakens. If he's like, oh, I just want to die, then don't come to this movie. But of course, that was not Disney's plan. But either way,
before we launch into Solo, we have a new fun little segment for those of the people who maybe didn't rewatch this movie or need a little bit of a refresher or didn't watch it at all and you just like the sound of our voices. And we're glad you're here for that too. But what do we call this segment again?
what do we call it? Oh, the plot drop, Jay.
Plot drop. That's right. It's on the board.
It's on the board.
Thanks, whiteboard. Adam, as quickly and as succinctly as possible, in our new segment, Plot Drop, can you tell me about just this whole movie as quickly as you can?
Sure. Han grows up on Corellia, makes some mistakes and wrongs the wrong people, then needs to leave. So he does. He joins the Empire. Then he's like, this is a bad choice. Joins a gang. They have jobs. What are they? We're never told, but we see them do them, and then all of them die. He gets double-crossed a few times. Chewie shows up. Lando shows up. A robot dies. He does the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs instead of the normal, 30-ish. The Empire show up for no reason. And then he wins the Falcon from Lando in a game we don't understand. He also has a very important pair of dice he hangs on every rear view mirror in any vehicle he drives in. It's apparently one of the most prized possession he has. Did you know that?
In the sauce about
Did
those
you
dice.
know that? Did you know that?
This is not as succinct as possible. You're getting mad about them dice.
That was
the
not a
end.
plot synopsis.
The end. What are you talking about? I did it. That was great. Hey, I dropped that plot. Don't you be coming over here saying I did a bad job?
You dropped the plot out of the synopsis.
Oh man. Yeah, his name is Han.
His name is Han.
And he's given the name Han Solo.
That was mistake. That was huge mistake number 2.
I agree.
Huge mistake number 1 was basing his entire character around his love for Kira.
Yes.
His motivation for everything he does past that is, I'm trying to get back to Kira. Mm-hmm. That is not the Han Solo that we came to know in the original movies. To me, that's a fundamental misunderstanding of the character of Han Solo.
Okay. So what would, in what way? Elaborate, I guess, is enhance.
Enhance. Han being a romantic person,
yeah,
he's hard. Basically, what this retcons Han in the original trilogy to now being basically a heartbroken guy. He had his heart broken by Kira, so he's just rough and tumble now.
Kira.
So Leia is the one that breaks his shell, but it's that's not. He's just more of he's a scoundrel, man. He's a smuggler. He's got that confidence because he's just Han Solo. He's just bouncing around the galaxy doing his thing. But now it's just no, a girl broke his heart, and now he's just I'm just heartbroken.
You just want him to be king of the mountain, and he's the guy that's gonna get rid of the rec center and build more.
No, not at all. It just changes. I just think it changes his motivation for everything.
No, that I think that completely tracks. But I mean, I'm not as upset about it as you are because I think, as people grow older, people change, for sure.
Oh, sure. But it just, I don't know. And don't get me wrong, Emilia Clarke is amazing. She does a great job in this movie. It's just...
I'm going to be totally honest with you. I think Emilia Clarke is an amazing actress. Game of Thrones has completely ruined it for me.
Really?
With her.
Oh no!
Forever.
Oh, but that's not her fault.
I know it's not her fault.
Jay, that's not fair.
No, I'm not saying that it's bad. It's a bad. I just can't see anything else on her.
Oh no!
Yeah, it really is a shame. But it's just kind of where I'm at. Every time I see her, I'm like, you don't. This isn't. This no. Oh. You don't get to be this. You ain't star person. You dragon person. What are you doing here? You don't get to know.
Well, just a heads up, Jay. She's about to be Marvel person.
Who is she gonna be?
She's in Secret Wars. No, Secret Invasion. That's coming out in the series. Is coming out in a couple months.
Oh. Otherwise, in my opinion, otherwise known as the first bad Marvel movie. The first actually bad Marvel movie that we all actually are kind of like, oh no. I don't think Secret Invasion is going to be very good.
It's a show. It's a show.
I still don't think it's going to be very good.
Okay. We haven't really seen anything about it yet.
I know. I just hated reading like Brian. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like when we were reading through everything and we got to Secret Invasion, it was kind of like we were kind of like, oh okay, great. Skrulls are everywhere.
Yeah, I think Secret Invasion. This is another conversation of a different time, but because Phase 4 was all over the place in terms of narrative, Secret Invasion felt like, oh yeah, I forgot about that plot line that they were doing.
1,000%.
So it feels like we're picking up a thread that's been lost a while ago.
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated to see how Phase 5 pulls all of that together, if it even does.
I think it's just too much variables. Not pertinent to what we're talking about in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, I just have a hard time seeing her in other stuff now. She's always gonna be.
That's a Sarah Michelle Gellar problem I have. She's Buffy.
She'll always be Buffy.
She's always Buffy.
Yeah. I don't even like Buffy, and I still think that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But I mean, I would I think that Donald Glover did the best job out of the two roles that are like, hey, we're recasting a major star as a younger version of themselves.
Yeah.
He did way better than, I'm sorry, what was the main actor's name again?
Alden Ehrenreich.
Alden Ehrenreich did a great job, but
he was a good cast too. He looks like a young Harrison Ford.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Sure.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Sorry.
He did a great job, but just Donald Glover stole the show.
Yeah.
He is Lando. It's so like that way. It was just so good.
But he also played a younger Lando that didn't quite have it all together quite yet.
Sure.
Like that's one thing I appreciate about it, because they're like, oh, he wasn't quite as cool. I was like, yeah, because he was like trying to figure out how to be cool.
He's probably in his early 20s at that point.
Yeah. Like, look, you don't just you're not just Billy D right out the gate.
No,
you gotta get there,
you gotta
man.
earn that Billy D.
Yeah, dude. Like, he was the perfect Charmeleon to Billy D's Charizard. You know?
There's a sentence.
Yeah. That's the thing I just said. Yeah, I'll be honest. I walked my first time watching it with the Peaches on the Discord watch along, and I expected to not like it that much, and I found myself like kind of pleased. Yeah. Dare I say it? I mean, and I thought even the twist at the end with all of the Crimson Dawn thing being linked to a Darth Maul situation.
Sure.
Whether or not that will ever bear any fruit or anything, I still thought it was pretty. They're making choices.
Well, Kira's decision to like, you know what? It's too late for us. This is my path.
Yeah.
I just killed Voss in a really cool way. I'm taking over now. Hey, you know what? That was neat. That's a character choice.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. The Maul stuff is just like, oh, okay, you just wanted to have Darth Maul on the thing. There's no reason why he should need to spin that saber. Cool, I guess. Whatever.
That was pretty cool.
That was for us, not for her. It was very weird.
Yeah. Yeah, that was more for. I would agree.
There's no reason he should have lit up this lightsaber.
So some fun facts about that. One of the finales of Clone Wars, when they are in the sewers chasing Darth Maul has holograms of all of the leaders of his underground kind of criminal enterprises, and one of them is Paul Bettany as the Crimson Dawn as Voss. So that's one connection there, and then obviously Darth Maul being alive in all of those is the other one. I don't know if they'll ever do anything other than that, but it has like sort of crossed over. Also in the canon comic books, Kira is actually a very interesting character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she is like in terms of like how she takes over what she does as well. So it has continued on, but not in the way that most people have intake their Star Wars content.
Sure, that makes sense. The other main thing, the big issue that I saw with this movie, seeing it the second time this past week, is I think the biggest problem this movie has is things are just happening. So there was multiple times where Beckett says, Just follow the plan, and we're gonna be fine when they do the train heist, when they do the Kessel Run stuff. Like, just follow the plan and everything. There was no scene in this movie where they went over a plan.
Oh, yeah.
They're pulling out heists, and it's just like, okay. Like, even the train, like, Han gets off the planet where the Imperials are fighting somebody for we don't know what. And then
it was really gray on that planet.
it was very gray.
They probably were all getting seasonal affective disorder.
Everyone was
On
probably
that-
very sad. You're
It's
right.
a very sad planet. Their main export was gray. Dreariness.
But Han gets off the planet with
They're fighting a
Chewie.
bunch of Eeyores on that
I
planet.
guess.
Thanks for noticing us.
You could insert anybody. They were fighting, who knows, but your imagination. But they get off the planet, and then the first thing to do is that they're scouting that train, but they're like, great, this happens and that happens, and then they have a meeting over the bonfire. Like, what are we doing? What's going on? What's the plan here? We just, nope, here's a rifle cut down into basically a pistol for Han, and we're off. Are we going to discuss what's about to happen? No, we're just going to do the thing? Okay, I guess.
My favorite thing about this movie is that it writes in canon and insinuates in canon that Chewbacca has eaten human meat.
Yeah.
Chewbacca's eaten man before. How does that scratch you, everybody? Oh yeah, I love all these the side stories and the cartoons. It's so fun and cute. Yeah, Chewbacca, he's so fluffy. He's eaten man. Like, oh, we gotta feed him again. Just throw the man down there, and Chewbacca, everyone's favorite Wookiee, will eat him.
Wookiees are slaves, man. That's what the Empire did to Kashyyyk. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And we see that later on at Kessel. But, like, having Chewie in some type of weird
Rancor pit.
Thank you. Rancor pit situation. It's like, this is not... You just needed Chewie to be in the movie, and you had no other way in. It was like, great, he's just here now, and it's like a Rancor situation. See, because it rhymes, Jay. The story rhymes with itself. Guys, this is... it's not... Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie had, like, there were lots of sentences about things that Han did that sounded cool that I would love to have seen
Yes.
in a Han Solo origin movie.
Uh-huh.
But apparently we didn't have time for that.
He told us a lot about how he was good at driving and good at piloting. He told... that's one thing that really frustrates me with a lot of modern Star Wars. A lot of people are just telling me what they're good at, and they're not showing me what they're good at, and it really bothers me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's just... how about we just show us?
That'd be great.
Do the thing. I don't know. But then again, I feel like this movie is a far less offender to other stuff that we've seen.
Oh, absolutely. This is the most fun of the 5 Disney films. This is the most fun. This is the most rewatchable.
Yeah.
So, like, it got a lot of things right. I got a couple things that were kind of irritatingly wrong, but, like, it wasn't offensive, like how I found some of the other movies.
Yeah.
Which, for that time back in the day, was good enough for me.
1,000%. Shall we fix this thing?
We desperately need to fix this thing.
I think we desperately need to fix this thing. Who's going first?
You are!
I am?
Yeah, I go first a lot.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, you got to give it to me like dramatic. So
Okay.
We can put on that mid roll, you know? Look, we're professionals, say, right, Brian?
That's exactly right, Jay.
Okay, Jay. Fix it!
Okay. My solo opens up on a Corellia, and it opens up on a street chase.
Okay.
And we see a young Han Solo and his gang of gang of ruffians.
Mm-hmm.
They have clearly stolen what will come to be known as they've stolen a battery from a shop, from like a ship
Yard?
work yard
Sure.
in Corellia.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing I want to establish is that like Corellia is like, yes, it's ripe for Empire occupation. Like the Empire is like they're being chased by both Corellian guards and then through this chase, we see that like the Empire catches wind of it, and then the Carillion like security team goes, "Oh crap!" The Empire.
Yep.
They back off.
Yep.
So we see that like Corellia, they're chasing them through all of these like shipyards, and we see like they're building like really really high end ships.
Yeah, Corellia's got a good shipyard. Yeah.
And through this like chase scene, I think it's like kind of like the opening. And Han is being like cheeky and fun about it, and they're like kind of running through like side alleyways. But we're establishing Corellia as like one of like the best, because they are one of the like their culture is they are some of the best shipbuilders in the galaxy.
Absolutely.
And we're also establishing that the Empire is like kind of just getting here and just kind of just slowly occupying.
Okay. I see. All right.
Because I don't think the Empire before, like, the Empire would have to have had seized control. Like, Corellia would have been a larger player. It was like Alderaan. Like, it was, you were going to have to, like, slowly, like, move on Corellia.
Okay.
Not necessarily, like, a full-on takeover, if that makes any sense.
Sure, yeah.
It's more of a political move, Corellia, than, like, a straight-on, like, takeover.
Just invasion, takeover. Okay.
Yeah. But it's very clear that like Carillion forces are like not cool with the Empire.
Right, of course. Yeah.
But they respect. They're like, oh well, I guess the stormtroopers are chasing them now. Like,
Just back off. Yeah, we don't
let's
want to get in their way. Yeah.
Han and his little crew make it back to their small garage, and we see that basically they've turned this tiny little garage into a swoop workshop.
Sure. Okay.
And they're working on a swoop. For those of you who don't know what a swoop is, it is basically like a speeder bike that is way faster and way more dangerous.
It's not street legal.
It's not. It is not a street legal speeder bike. And we see that he is working on this swoop, and the whole time, all the while, they're talking about this swoop race that is going to be taking place through the city. And it comes to basically they're all talking about the older kid, which I honestly don't even have a name for. He's kind of like the lead kid of his gang, but then the younger kid who is also working with Han, who goes by Dash. Oh yeah, we're putting Dash Rendar in this movie. Just because why not?
And I didn't put Dash in mine because I had a sneaking suspicion he was going to show up in yours.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
And so he's got this older kid, and they are working on this swoop to enter it into. There's kind of like, it's a little Fast and the Furious, like, street race of the swoops. And
Sure.
they're like, kind of like, they had the big race coming up, and they're like, well, if we went, this is 50,000 credits. Like, this is the kind of thing that, like, we could buy our own ship, and we could get off of Corellia before the Empire really even sets down.
Oh.
Like, we can get out of here, and we can start our own little, like, side hustle, like, off planet. Like, all we need is to just win this race. And it's 100,000 credits. Sorry, 50,000 will come in a minute. And then eventually it comes to light that their little garage they're doing a test like a speed test, and as they are like getting the swoop like up to speed, they get the two Han and Dash, who are waiting for the older kid. Let's just call him Doug. Doug is doing his speed test. They get basically sideswiped by like kind of two thugs, and as Doug like cycles back, we see that it's like a very young Bib Fortuna.
Whoa!
Who's kind of a little bit more of an enforcer at this point.
Sure. Okay.
And he's like, your swoop is very like it's a really excellent swoop. Like, we didn't realize that you guys were like going to be racing in this race. Like, oh, okay, interesting. And they basically present like a small holodeck, and you see it's Jabba. I'm just putting like, look, the Crimson Dawn is interesting and all, but like when it comes to the relationship between Han and
Jabba,
like
the Hutt Syndicate,
and just like crime as a whole, I'm way more interested in Nal Hutta. I'm way more interested in all of that. Like,
yes.
I'm not Crimson Dawn's cool and all, but like I don't have a connection to it as a Star Wars fan if I'm just watching the movies.
Sure.
Whereas this is like cool. I want to know. Not only will this influence like this movie will influence how I look at Han. It'll also influence like how I look at some of these movies.
Sure.
And like why he's afraid to go back to Jabba and like what all this means. But I think Jabba's like very charming, and he's just like, hey, we have someone in this race. Like, I just need you guys to just take a dive on this one. Like, and we'll offer you guys 50,000 credits, and like to just take a dive on this one. Like, you guys are kind of the front runners for this one. But I see there's a lot of stolen parts on your bike. Like, it'd be pretty interesting to, like, you know, I'm sure the Empire wouldn't really... I know Corellians look the other way, but, like, you know, the Empire wouldn't necessarily. So, like, you guys just take a dive, you make 50,000 credits, you build a better bike, maybe something that's up to, you know, Empire standards, and then, like, you get into the next race, and that's fine. And the three of them are just, like... and Doug's like, oh, okay. Doug's, like, terrified, and he, like, wants to take the deal.
Sure.
And he's gonna like he's gonna take the dive.
Mm-hmm.
And Han and Dash are like, we need to get off Corellian now. Like, the Empire is just moving in. Like, we're not gonna be able to get off of this planet. Like,
the clock is ticking.
There's a ticking clock with the Empire moving in. So they're like, we need to win this race. Like, we can win this race. You can win this race. Han's like, I can win this race. And Doug's like, no, blah 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 blah. Race day comes. They're planning on taking a dive. And something just gets in Han's head, and he takes the swoop. He does the street race, and I'm imagining like this is full on like illegal street race. They're hitting all aspects of Corellia. We get like a full city swipe.
Nice, yeah.
And we get to see like the full culture. That's one thing I like about these movies is that like I want to see these planets we've talked about for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Like Corellia, we talk about all the time. I want to know what it's like. I'm like, is it like Coruscant? Is it like Alderaan? Like, is it totally different?
It's totally different, Jay.
Yeah.
There's child slavery there.
Yeah, for real.
I wouldn't put it past some levels of Coruscant having.
Oh, level 1313 specifically.
Look, you want good ships, huh? You know, you got
You got small hands. You can fit in that engine, right? Keep this train a moving through that snow. Here we go.
Basically, so like this race is obviously not sanctioned. And so Han wins this race, and we really get to see Han as a good, like, as an excellent pilot.
Sure, yeah.
And like but we also get to see him how he drive. Like he's gonna win that race, but it's gonna be at the cost of the bike. Everything. Like, he leaves it all on the racetrack.
Sure.
Which is one thing I really appreciated about that movie is that, like, he destroys the Millennium Falcon, and it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah. Oops, there goes the dish. Oops, there's the landing gear. That's fine. Sorry, it's fine. We're alive, right?
We're alive, aren't we?
Oopie, escape pod. We gotta go.
Oops. So it establishes that, like, him as a driver. And then at, like, basically him winning that race, it comes to light that there's basically, like, they're surrounded on both sides. They have Empire on one side and
Corellian enforcement.
no Jabba.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because they're like, you weren't supposed to win. So he has, like, basically, like, Hut, Crime Family, and Empire on one side. And they're like, Jabba's like, well, I mean, you can choose, you know, in that way. But and Han's like, well, I mean, I can at least guarantee 3 squares with the Empire. Like, you're just gonna kill me. So
Peace.
Bye. He goes away with the Empire, and I think at some point he tells, like, once he wins, he tells Dash to, like, run, and that's the one thing where, when he chooses to go on the Empire side, he doesn't realize until it's too late that they have Dash. And he's like, oh, no. And so he has, like, kind of a reason to get back to Corellia because he wants to save his little buddy Dash Rendar. He gets taken away to basically an Imperial work camp.
Oh, okay.
And with him and a bunch of Corellians, but it comes to light that they are being put in together at this work camp with a bunch of with Wookiee workers as well. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like prison. Like the humans and the Wookiees like aren't necessarily getting along.
Sure.
But I like to think that Han and Chewie are like in the middle of the chain gang in between of them.
Okay.
So they're the ones like he has to deal with. He's like the middleman between the humans and the Wookiees.
Makes sense.
So like, and he's there for like a good long time.
Yeah.
So I like to think like that, like they're kind of like not, they hate each other's guts, but then like Han starts to like figure out their language a little bit, and he's not a dummy, and so I think they kind of figure out, like they kind of become closer friends through that way. And then much like in I looked into EU a little bit more.
Yes.
Like their origin story, because their origin story was just like not good in the movie.
No, it's
like
it's horrible, Jay.
But I like the idea of Han and Chewie kind of staging a breakout from this group. Like I'm still keeping that like Han has met a couple of other criminals here.
Sure.
That like he wants to maybe like they're like, oh, we kind of have this job, and he's like, okay, great. Like I think I can probably get us out of here if you like if you will take me along for your job. And then eventually like it's like you're also going to take Chewie too. You're going to need the muscle, and they're like, oh, okay, great.
Sure. Yeah.
Like Han and Chewie become friends. They leave for the job. I'm keeping the train robbery. I thought the train robbery was really great. But it's going to sorry. The train robbery is going to go completely south. All of the people that he is there with get murdered.
Oh.
Like it does not go well
At all.
and the shipment gets taken by it's spice this time.
Yeah.
They're just trying to steal spice.
Yeah. Give us something we actually know, not some weird new MacGuffin about fuel.
It gets completely sideswiped. And then he is basically like taken captive by this other group, and he and Chewie are, since they're the only two left alive,
Right.
like the other two like get the spice, but they also get tracked by the people whose spice it was.
Yep.
And then they realize very quickly that the people that they stole the spice that they were stealing from, they could get away very easily with that spice because it was Hutt spice, and they have two people. Like they have someone that Jabba's very interested in.
Yep.
And so they trade Han and Chewie over to Jabba in order to get away with this spice.
Sure.
And then Jabba's like, "Oh, well, okay, great. Well, you are awesome. You owe me. Well, first of all, you owe me $50,000 for, and then you owe me the extra, the extra $500K that I was supposed to win after I made that bet. But honestly, we can call that a wash. Honestly, you owe me a shipment of spice. That's what you owe me. Like, I understand you're gonna have to find it one way or the other. Like, I could just kill you, but like, this is kind of more fun. Isn't this more fun? Like, I can put you together with like some other people that owe me some favors. And so basically Jabba is the one that kind of brings out like another one of his hostages, and it's Lando Calrissian.
Oh no!
And so that like Jabba's kind of the one that puts them together.
Okay.
Which I like that like Lando having to like integrate himself back into Jabba's palace. Like was kind of interesting because he's like, I haven't been here before.
Yeah.
Like I kind of know my way around, so I can infiltrate this place. And then they are put together with, and I would recast this as well. I'm not sure by who, but the foursome that makes up their small little crew, they are put together with a young up and coming bounty hunter team. Boba Fett and Dengar are also brought into they're like, these are the two guys that are gonna make sure that like you guys get out of there with the spice. Awesome, great. But Dengar doesn't have any of his like wrappings or anything. Like he's just like he's kind of just like a normal bounty hunter.
Sure.
And I like to think that he's kind of funny. I'm not sure how I would I'm not sure who I would cast him as.
Okay.
Maybe Dengar is Eastbound and Down.
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride is Dengar.
Whoa.
I know it's a wild swing. So they make their Kessel run. and Lando and Han are in the Millennium Falcon, but I think Dengar and Boba they're in Slave One. They have to steal from the Pikes.
Yep.
Like, you were gonna fly under no flag. Like, I need this spice from the Pikes. You're gonna get it for me, or you're gonna die. And then that's what I was working on anyways. Or if you can try to betray me, then Boba and Dengar will take care of you. I got this all worked out.
Yep.
Like, I like a younger, more charming Jabba.
Sure, he's got all the angles figured out.
Yeah. And so we make our way to Kessel. I like the idea of Dengar, Lando, Han, and Boba Fett actually working okay together.
Sure.
I like the idea of them kind of infiltrating these mines pretty effectively, stealing the product quite well. But then I think it's one of the slaves recognizes Boba as they're on the way out because the slave is also a clone.
Oh no!
Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I think it's like Boba's coming out, but he's very clearly helmet off, and he is a clone.
Yeah.
And he sees one of the
clone troopers.
One of the clone troopers as a slave there, and he's just like, "Wait, you're one of me. You need to get me out of here." And then that's what alerts everyone, and they have to fight their way out of Kessel.
Cool.
As they're fighting their way out of Kessel, Dengar falls into one of those acid pits that's outside on Kessel. That's where he's wrapped up in Empire Strikes Back, and so he has to basically get out of there. And they get him out, but he's unconscious.
Sure.
Han, Dengar being unconscious basically gives Han and Lando it gives them the ability to make a break for it.
Mm-hmm.
Dengar starts to flatline in the back of the Slave One, so that's where why Boba Fett stops chasing them through the maelstrom. They don't realize that, but they just basically blast through. They get through the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, and as they pop out, that's when they pop out of the maelstrom, and they're like, "We did it! 12 parsecs! Can you believe it?" And then it's just Star Destroyers. And it's Star Destroyers, and then pan back to the Millennium Falcon and just spice. They just drop their cargo. Because that's the whole thing. That's why Jabba's pissed. Is you did the job, and then you just drop the cargo at the first sign of Imperials.
Yep.
And and it's basically they drop the spice. And Lando's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then the Imperials basically and this is where it gets a little crazy.
Okay.
I like the idea of Han dropping the spice and then realizing how stupid that was, and then getting his courage, and he's like, "I got a bad feeling about this." And then as the Star Destroyers push down on him, he cuts back down into the maelstrom and has to do the 12 parsecs again. I like the idea, just it's the kind of thing where Lando's like, "We barely survived." He's like, "I gotta, do you remember how I did this?" But it's he's just blowing through all sorts of stuff. And Lando's like, "My ship! And so they basically lose the Imperial forces, but they've also lost the spice. And so I like the idea of it. Like most things with Han, he's not always... I think this movie tried to tie him into too many things going on in the grander universe.
But yes.
Where Han is also... Han has just kind of happened to stuff. And Han's basically just hey, I understand, I'm ending this movie as they kind of escape through the Kessel Run, and they land this ship somewhere, and it's him and Lando basically playing cards, and I'm ending it with Han just being "I want your ship, play me for your ship," and we'll lead up to that whole thing. And Lando's just I'm keeping it way more simple than this movie tried to do.
Yeah.
It's just I just kind of want to see him do rad space stuff.
Sure.
And that's it. So I'm just ending it with a card game for the Millennium Falcon that we don't see end.
Because you don't need to see the end.
We don't need to see the end.
Because we know how it ends.
There's no love story. There's no we get to see why Jabba's pissed at him. We get to see it's the kind of thing where Lando's got all these grand ideas, and Han's I just want to
fly.
I just want to fly, man. He's I'm gonna go back to Corellia, I'm gonna pick up Dash, and then we're gonna hit the skies. And that's it. And Lando's like, he's like, I feel like you got more potential than that, but whatever.
There's a lot of opportunity out here.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're ending it.
Yeah.
Not the most elegant. Because again, like, I also thought this movie was kind of okay. That's kind of where my fixes get in trouble a little bit, where I'm like, no, I kind of like, I like this movie. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's all it needs to be. And I love the fact you had Boba and Dengar in there.
You got, I mean,
You have to.
because Lando says, like, when they say Boba Fett is here, both Lando and Han in Return of the Jedi both freak out.
Yes.
Like, they know what's up.
Yes, they do.
Like,
Yes.
Huh.
Yes.
Yes. And I also just want to see, like, Boba Fett, like, crashing through Kessel, like, smash.
You want to see Boba Fett do rad cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Yeah, man.
He's very cool when he does rad cool stuff.
Yeah. There's also, like, an opportunity, like, when they're at Jabba's palace for him to be like, you know, I could just, like, I did get this new Rancor. I could just, like, break in my new Rancor. But why do that when I can send you on a mission? And so we can see a baby Rancor.
Oh, little baby Rancor.
Which, not in the Bad Batch version, like an actual version, like a cool one.
Yeah, you can see the guy actually start taking care of him. And actually, like, you know, like, really care for him. Which would then really make that
opportunity
scene
for Jay to be in Star Wars.
Sure.
What's up? I look like a young version of that guy who cries when the Rancor gets smooshed.
I'm into that. I buy that 100%.
Where's that show?
Rancor University.
Yeah.
Or the Rancor Whisperer.
I'm sure after the Thrawn stuff, after, you know, I assume Luke setting up the Jedi Academy, Rancor Whisperer.
Yeah,
Why not?
absolutely. Yeah. All right, hit me. Hit me with your fix, baby.
All right. Mine is definitely a little bit darker in tone than yours.
Okay.
I think this movie, the original movie, tried to be a little bit too funny, I think, where I think the humor of Star Wars comes from its characters and, like, being snippy in the moment, not, like, in serious moments throwing snark.
Yes.
So this movie is
At least
not...
that's where Star Wars humor works best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not trying to be a comedy where they set up funny situations. It's not...
It's people responding in a funny way to real situations.
This boring conversation anyways. Luke, they're going to be here in a minute. Like, that's...
Yes.
Luke, we've got company.
Yeah. Han talks to himself.
Yeah.
But, like... and we've seen that. We saw that in the first... So, like, we kind of know how these characters kind of react to situations. That should have just been... Anyways, this movie's going to be a little bit darker. But, you know, you'll see. Hugh's kind of close to some of the stuff you came up with, but also with some of the good stuff in the normal movie. So, we're going to start... my movie starts with a young Han Solo, and I'm talking young. He's like maybe 7. And this is going to be a montage of Han learning the ways of being a scoundrel and a smuggler from his father. A father whose face we never see.
Okay.
So we're going to see Han learn the tricks of the trade by, like, watching his dad, two-timing guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his dad takes him to shoot, so we see him practicing shooting. He's flying, he's driving, and his dad teaches him how to play sabacc.
Okay.
And we're actually going to learn the rules of sabacc.
Yeah.
So, I know how to play sabacc.
Yes, so do I.
I have a deck.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, from a Galaxy's Edge. I
Oh,
bought
nice.
a deck, and they pulled me aside and taught me how to play. It was actually super cool. I
I
should
can
have brought it.
I can just bail if you guys want to.
Bye, Jay. And they in the EU, one of the books was like, no, this is how you play sabacc. They explained it. I was like, so in a universe, someone has written down the rules of sabacc.
Rules of sabacc.
We should. So if they can do rounders and explain poker,
Yeah.
to the audience who may not know the rules of poker,
Yeah.
they can do it. They can explain the rules of a card game in a fantasy universe.
Yeah.
So Han's gonna learn sabacc from his dad. So we're gonna follow Han through the years. He's running with street kids in Corellia, doing stuff on his own, doing stuff for his dad. But as we're going through this montage, we're gonna get snippets of whatever Star Wars, HoloNet, TV news, whatever, like of just like little touchstones of where we are in the timeline.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, at A New Hope, Han's 29. 28,
Hold, please.
whereas Luke and Leia are 19. He's like 10 years older than they are.
Yeah.
So he was alive when the Clone Wars started-ish.
He's 29 years old in New Hope. So 0 BBY. He is 29 years old. In Solo, he's supposed to be 19 because it takes place 10 years before A New Hope.
So we're going to get little snippets of like, oh, the Clone Wars have ended. Oh, the Empire, or I'm sorry, the New Republic, or the Republic is reorganizing into the Galactic Empire. Like, just little bits of knowledge just so we know where we are in the timeline.
Yeah.
So we don't, because we can be clever about it. But so eventually, we're going to see the relationship between Han and his father break down.
Yeah.
Again, we're never going to see his face. We're going to tell, like, Han is starting to, he needs to leave. He needs to get out of here. This is turning into a bad situation. So Han's, like, running with some street gangs or whatever. And eventually, we're going to see Han as that cocksure, kid, two-time, we can keep it Crimson Dawn if we really want to, but, like, the Corellia branch of Crimson Dawn that has a bunch of, youths doing it. And we have a young Voss as who he two times somehow, like, basically, and then we're gonna have that racing scene at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
But we see him actually double cross Voss and realizes, oh, he's got to get off planet now because they put a bounty on him.
Yeah.
He's got to leave. His dad's doesn't care about him anymore. That relationship's completely broken. He's on his own, but he's got all these skills now that his dad taught him. He's got to go. There aren't a lot of options.
You basically you've turned Han Solo into Sean Hunter. He's like the cool, his dad it didn't really quite work out with his dad, but now he's gonna hit the road and be the coolest character on the show. Yeah.
Yeah. So Han, knowing he loves to fly because he's very good, we've seen him pilot in this montage. He wants to fly, and much like Luke did in New Hope, he's like, I'm just gonna, I want to fly and get out of here. I'll just join the Galactic, go to the Naval Academy and be a pilot.
Yeah, man.
So he signs up as Han Solo. That's his last name.
Yeah.
It's his last name.
Uh-huh.
So he signs up for the Naval Academy
Yeah.
to go be a pilot. And then we're going to follow him to flight school, where Han is going to kick everyone's asses. He's way better than all these other kids. But much like in Andor, where we get like ground level stuff, we're going to see these kids talking to each other and see how the youths are like, see how the Empire is on their home planets, what they think about it. And it's like, oh, kind of scary. They're all for this. The system works well for them. They don't care. But Han's like, this sucks. I actually know what it's like. And I'm way better than all of you. And everyone hates Han. But it's like that episode of Next Generation when Tom Paris, who is not Tom Paris, and Wesley Crusher, they have that accident when they're flying there. Did somebody? No, did you? I'm looking at you.
I have never seen an episode of Trek at all.
I thought you of all people.
No,
No.
I'm sorry.
Oh no!
I know more of what you're talking about than he does.
There was that episode where Wesley got in trouble because they did that maneuver they shouldn't have done, and
Yes.
somebody died.
Oh yeah.
It's-
when John Luke really lays into
Yes.
Crush. Yeah.
So basically, it's that stuff. Han's just doing things at the Naval Academy he shouldn't be, but he is good enough. He's flying circles around everybody, and they've finally had enough of this, and so they're gonna kick him out to the ground troops.
Yeah, it's like it's the Maverick. It's Top Gun. It's like, or no, it's like Hal Jordan.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, you beat the robots, but you also destroyed a plane in the process. Yeah,
You're right. Yeah. But I beat the robots. Jacket, sunglasses. I'm a cool guy. So they're going to kick Han out. But at this point, we've seen in the life of the Naval Academy, we've seen them, and the Wookiee slaves have been there. So he's like, much like you did, and much like in the EU, they're like, I'm going to stage a breakout, and I'm taking, and Chewie, he breaks out the Wookiees, and Chewie goes with him. Mm-hmm. So they fly away, and they get into a freighter ship, or a freighter, and they're like, Han and Chewie outfly everybody there and get away. And during this flight, this chase scene, we're going to see Han and Chewie working together, realize that, wait, you're how old? Oh my God, you're really good at this. And Chewie's going to mention a life debt, because it's never mentioned in the movie.
Yeah.
It's never mentioned. And it's really freaking important that it's mentioned, because that's why Chewie is still there.
Yeah.
So he's like, we don't need to do that.
It's never explained how Han knows some Wookiee language. It's not explained.
It's not.
He just knows it. Everyone's like, you know that? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. Thanks,
Sure.
Screw you, dude.
So Han and Chewie get away, and they become best. It's like, first off, Chewie's like, well, what do we do next? Like, well, we got to get rid of the ship because they're obviously going to track it, but like, we can just do whatever we want. We're free men. Let's just go where the wind takes us.
Yeah.
So we flash forward. It's been like 6 to 8 months. They have a different ship. It's not in any way a new ship, but it's just a different ship now, and they're flying. They're getting done from a mission of just like hauling stuff.
Yeah.
They go into a spaceport on like a big space station, and they unload their goods. And then as they're like just checking in, like figure what we're gonna do. Let's go to grab a calf or something like that. Boba Fett shows up.
Yeah.
And Han's like, Boba Fett? Boba Fett's here?
Where?
And they take off because Han realizes he's still got that bounty on him from Corellia.
Yeah.
So now Boba Fett is chasing Han and Chewie through this space station. And it's awesome. And they're dodging, they're weaving,
Hell
they're
yeah.
doing cool stuff.
Love it.
And eventually, Boba Fett's going to catch him.
Yeah.
Because he's Boba Fett.
Because he's Boba Fett.
So he's like, I can kill the Wookiee. I've killed many Wookiees.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to because Voss wants to see you. Because Voss is it's been a few years now, has also worked his way up.
Ah, okay.
And so Voss is like, Han, my old friend. Well, we have a choice on our hands, much like you did with Jabba.
Yeah.
I can kill you right now because you deserve it after you double-crossed me on Corellia. I got into a lot of trouble that it took me a long time to work my way out of.
Or you work for me.
Or we go on a job and we can wipe your debt clean. I've got a job for you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll do the job. Awesome. Then we go meet Lando. And because we need a ship, and much like in the movie, I was like, we need a ship. Lando's got a ship. I can play
a bigger ship.
I can play him for it. And now this time, since we learned what's the rules of Sabacc earlier,
The rules of Sabacc.
we're gonna have a rounder scene
Ah, nice.
of Han playing Lando, but we're actually going to know what's going on. So, like, because we know what the cards are. And so we actually get the tension of it. And we're going to see Han's about to beat Lando after a really cool scene of, everyone, them beating everybody else. And then it's just Han and Lando playing one-on-one. And like, Han's about to win. And Lando's been, it's so charismatic and stuff. This is great. This is a fantastic scene. We know Han's about to win. He puts his cards down. Awesome, thanks for the ship. I really appreciate it. And then Lando wins. But wait, we just saw his cards. Lando didn't have. Oh, we know he cheated, but we didn't see it.
Is it weird that I don't like the choice that Lando's a cheater?
Only when he needs to be.
I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't. I think it's maybe just a mental thing. I'm like, oh, cheaters.
I think so.
It really bothers me.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I'm like, you cheated to win? That's not.
But
it's like my Slytherin of a wife. It's like, yeah, sometimes you gotta cheat.
Hey, I didn't get caught, so that means
sometimes, Kimberly. If you ever play a board game with Kimberly, you watch her like a hawk. She will cheat.
anything to win.
Anything to win. It's so.
So Lando wins. Weirdly, I was like, wait a second. But Lando goes on this. They take the ship. They go on, but they go with the ship. And so on this mission now, Lando being the pilot. We got Han, Chewie, Voss is sticking around.
Okay.
And also, we need a little bit more help with it. So, other crew... There's no L3, by the way. Other crew members to help on this mission. We need a hacker droid. So, I'm making up a hacker droid. His name is Null. I don't know. He's very mouthy. Bosk is going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Because we need more muscle.
Well, they did also mention Bosk.
They did.
Yeah, but he wouldn't work well with a Wookiee, though, because he's Trandoshan.
I know. They actually want that to happen.
Oh,
They're
okay.
picking... And I was like, wait a second. Oh, we need Bosk specifically for that reason.
Gotcha.
And someone else they also mentioned in this movie that didn't deserve what happened in this movie or off screen, Aura Singh is going to be the other person.
Oh, yeah.
She's just who got off screen pushed to her death by Beckett. Sure. Okay.
Rude.
Very rude. A character with a lot of history, like, oh yeah, you pushed her off something and you killed her. Good job, character we just met. Okay, that's not how you give somebody shine. That's a load of bull. I'm sorry. I'm not like an Aura Singh stan, but like I know, like that name, she's got a lot. You just pushed her. Come on, man. Anyways, now they're all gonna
it's
go.
like how Mace Windu technically got pushed out of a window, but we never saw him.
We never saw the body. So now that we have the established group, we're all on the we're all on the Falcon, and now we go over the actual plan. We're gonna do the Kessel thing again.
Yeah.
Because we have to.
Because you have to.
You have to.
That's just the best part.
But here's the plan. We're the planning scene for the Kessel run. We got to go to Kessel. We got to steal spice from the Pikes.
Spice.
We're going to...
It tastes like cinnamon. It makes you feel so good. Spice. It's me, the Book of Love.
Get out of here, Book of Love. This relationship should be over. You don't know what you're doing. Get out of here.
No matter what galaxy spice is in, it tastes like cinnamon.
So, basically, the Kessel run, the Kessel's they really go over it. Kessel is a planet inside the Maw, which is just a cluster of a bunch of really huge black holes. There's no monsters inside of it, but it's gravitationally crazy in there. There's really no one set path because the black holes are just it's really hard to navigate through all these black holes. But the spice there is plentiful. The Pikes are in charge of it. It's also, it's a spice mine, also / prison planet, but the Pikes are in charge of it. We need to steal a big shipment of it. Here's the plan. Voss, Null, and Aura Singh will go into the control center, talk their way through stuff. Bosk and Chewie will kind of be like, oh, we got you some slaves as we're taking, we just got picking some up. As we're taking some stuff off Lando and Han, you guys are going to load the stuff. We're going to talk the plan is to talk our way through this and to pose as the people who are actually going to be the people who were supposed to be there.
Yeah.
We're not trying to steal. Yes, we are just going to take first step. We need to go take out the actual people who were going to do the run. Yeah. We need to just get rid of them, and then we'll take their place. Go do the thing. So they show up to the mall like, okay, this is how we navigate. This is what the course is right now because everything changes. So like, okay, we navigate quickly. We get down there. The plan is everything's working out. Han and Lando are moving the spice into the Falcon. Oh, or also we're gonna see the Falcon's like storerooms. Yeah, like, it's a freighter. We're actually gonna see them load freight and how the fact that the Falcon can like load a bunch of stuff. It's got a lot of room in there to haul stuff. It's not just a couple of corridors and bedrooms we see. Yeah, there's lots of stuff there. We're actually gonna see it. Meanwhile, Aura Singh, Voss, and Null are in the control room, and Null is trying to mess with, trying to sneakily spin the thing or whatever to like hack in, like, no, we're supposed to be here, everything, like to get rid of like the questions, like, wait a second, what happened to the other? Like, no, we're just gonna be like, no, we're the ones that's supposed to be here. This is fine, just to match up the data. And Voss is just trying to talk everybody through everything. Chewie and Bosk go in, and they're waiting to give, to make the Trandoshan and Wookiee, fight because they know it's going to happen. They're banking on it, and they're like to wait a certain time and then go for it so they can use that to like get everybody off. And the plan is like, oh no, these slaves didn't work out. We'll take them back. We're really sorry. We thought they were going to work out. This is a diversion. Yeah. So everything seems to be going to plan until Voss goes off on his own to do something else that was not a part of the briefing. And that's when things start going south. One of the Pikes figures out what's going on, and Aura's trying to talk her way out of it, but this guy is not having it, and then it just turns to a firefight in the control room. Voss shows up just as guns are drawn, and then everyone starts firing. It's like, oh no, the plan's going to pop. Pew, 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 pew,
Where did Voss go, though?
We'll see.
Okay.
So they're like, oh no, what are you doing? And then one of the dying Pikes like finally like reaches for a button and hits the control like boop boop boop. Like, oh no, he just summoned the Empire because the Pikes were working for the Empire to get the spice off planet.
The spice must flow.
Exactly. So now they alerted the Empire like, oh no, they got to come and stop this thing because that's going to interrupt this shipments to the Empire. So they have a vested interest in keeping this thing moving smoothly. So we gotta get off this planet as fast as humanly possible. Let's go. So Chewie and the Bosk are fighting people trying to get their way out. They're shooting everybody. Vosk is like, where the hell were you? Don't worry about it. Han and Lando are getting everything in. They get in the Falcon. They start flying off, and they're like, we gotta get out of here before the Empire show up. And of course, they're just a little bit too late because here comes the Star Destroyer is like right there. It's like, oh, they try to talk their way out of it. It's not gonna work because what Han realizes because he hears a familiar voice come through the comms.
A familiar voice.
And it's one of his instructors from the Naval Academy who's in charge of that Star Destroyer, and he's like, oh, this guy is an ass. He plays everything way too much by the book. We're not going to be able to talk our way out of this. And that's when TIE Fighters launch. And they get calmed, but it's like, all right, we're Heel 2 or whatever they say, we're about to board you. And it's like, oh, wait a second. These are the guys I flew with at the Naval Academy.
They don't know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing. I got this. He pushes Lando out of the way. Trust me, I can fly these. Yeah. I can fly circles around. So now Chewie and Han fly circles around these guys in the TIE Fighters and head into the maelstrom.
Yeah, dude.
And this is where we get the 12 parsecs thing again.
Yeah, dude.
And so the TIE Fighter's like...
Straight up, like, look, no matter how you feel about, like, these new movies, just watching the Millennium Falcon just, like, kick ass. Just,
oh, sure.
It's awesome. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he lands that thing and just, like, skids on the landing things and, like, blasts, I was like, yeah, man. Yeah, get him.
There are moments in all of these things where people are like, we can do rad cool stuff in Star Wars. What if we just did this and we just see them killing Imperials in, like, fun, cool ways? Like, yeah, man, that was awesome. I mean, the rest of this movie is bad, but that part was cool.
Yeah.
So Han navigates the gravitational fields and decides to slingshot off after flying circles around these guys and killing them by smashing into stuff. He slingshots around the three gravity wells of a black hole to shoot him in the Falcon, like, out of the maw.
That's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
You're going right into the black hole. It's like, yeah, but the other black hole will save me, and then that third black hole.
That's right. Yeah, the gravitational fields will null each other out, and if I can thread the needle, I should be all right.
Black hole sun, where'd you go?
So they get out of the maw. They do it in 12 parsecs. It's
Wash
amazing.
Away your heart, black hole sun. Won't you come?
Voss gives him.
Won't you come?
Voss gives him. Oh, here comes Chewie with the chorus. Voss gives him coordinates for where they're supposed to meet the contact. They sit down. They unload the spice. Lando's like, "Great, bye. That was my part of it. I'm out of here." Lando leaves. See ya. Lando leaves in the Falcon, leaving because everybody survived there at the planet, and they at some big compound waiting for the contact to come out. And it turns out that the contact is actually Hondo Tanaka.
Oh,
Yeah.
When is live action Hondo?
I love that.
Let's go.
Yeah.
We need live action
I
Hondo.
really hope he shows up in Ahsoka. I really do. I'm really excited about this, senors.
So Voss and Hondo are talking, and through this conversation, Han puts all the pieces together and realizes what the heck just happened. Because there was a lot of things that didn't seem quite right about this mission.
I'm so sorry, everyone.
Brian!
I'm just so excited.
Lock it up, Brian.
I'm just lock it up, Brian.
Lock it up, Brian.
Hey, I'm friends with Jedi.
So through overhearing Voss and Hondo, Han's like, wait a second, this whole thing was a setup. You risked all of our lives to ruin the Pike's operation in the Empire, so the Empire would have cause to take over Kessel. That's where Voss went, to plant evidence.
Oh, okay.
To be like, oh, something stinky is going on here. To give the Empire, not only did the spice shipment disappear, but also now there was planted evidence. Once the Empire shows up, to be like, what happened here? They're going to find that he planted stuff and being like, you guys are two-timing us. Because it's kind of like what Andor did. Like, we're taking over this company.
Yeah.
Congratulations, guy. You try hard, Doug. You've caused this corporation to lose its license on this planet. Now the Empire's taking over.
Uh-huh.
The same thing's now happening to the Pikes on Kessel. Because
Gotcha.
the Empire want the Maw.
Oh.
And they didn't want to fight for it. So they're using back channels and stuff and smugglers to make a pretense for them just legally taking it.
Sure.
So Han's like, this is not what Voss, we are square. I don't want anything to do with you. Chewie, let's get out of here. And Han's like, well, I got a ship. He feels like, great. After this, we're leaving. So a couple months later, everything's fine. Han and Chewie are on their own ship. Everything's like, okay, you know what? We still have one piece of unfinished business. And they go find Lando, and they play once again for the ship. And we see that, much like the movie, he doesn't have that card up his sleeve. And so we know Han wins. We don't have to see it.
Yeah.
And they just fly off.
That's great.
That's great. And we're done.
Hell yeah, man.
And then there's a mid-credit scene.
Oh, boy.
Oh my god.
And this is where I'm tying it straight into the EU. So at the
European Union?
yes.
Wild.
Surprise! On a Star Destroyer, Grand Moff Tarkin or Moff
Grand Moff Tarkin?
Grand
He's
Moff.
probably just regular Moff Tarkin.
I think he's Moff Tarkin at this point. Yeah, we're still about 10 years away. He's on the bridge of a Star Destroyer in front of the Maw.
It's like decently moffed Tarkin. Sufficiently moffed Tarkin?
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, he just says begin the construction of the installation, because the Maw installation in the EU was where they built all the super weapons, like the Sun Crusher.
Oh, okay.
And the laser for the Death Star.
Yeah, because
was built.
Because then nobody could figure out what they were doing.
Yep. And it was a big deal. And also, the Maw is a much bigger deal in the EU, especially towards the end of the EU, although that part...
That's where the Kraken lives.
You're not...
Release the Kraken!
Well, something lived in the Maw. Did you ever get that far in the EU, Brian?
No.
Oh, there's actually... For all my EU nerds out there, I'll educate you guys real quick. The real reason for it's like the last series of books before Disney bought the last. Basically, the Maw was constructed by. I know you didn't watch Clone Wars. You watched Clone Wars, right? Remember that one little 3-part episode when Ahsoka, Anakin, and Obi-Wan find that little floating pyramid or whatever, and they are transported to that planet with the Force Masters or whatever, the people who were the brother, the son of the mom or whatever.
The daughter,
yeah. Mm-hmm. There was the mom or the stepmom ghost super being or Force super being that was super crazy evil, and they created the Maw as a prison for her, and she got out.
Okay.
And that was the last series of 9 books or whatever.
Interesting.
Huh.
Which is all
Fun.
right. But the Maw's got has a backstory. There's a reason why the Maw exists.
I love Star Wars so much, and I loved reading all those books. But at some point, everyone's like,
Yes.
"Well, in EU," I'm like, everyone's like, "Man, it's so bummed. I'm bummed out when they decanonized all the EU." I'm like, "Yeah, there wasn't that much. It was mostly bathwater they threw out. It was not a ton of baby in there."
Yeah. after the Vong War was and even the Vong War was this is pretty good.
Yeah.
Look,
But after that's
there's maybe 10 books in there that are pretty good, and the rest is what is going on?
This is a stretch.
This is
This is a fictional world, and this is a stretch.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was feeling its length at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie just needed to be just about Han, just about how he gained his skills and his first couple of adventures out in the grand universe.
Yeah, but I get it. People I kind of, I don't know. And that was my frustration in fixing this one, is that I kind of understood all of their choices. I didn't love all of them, but I got it. I don't know. I think this movie is actually pretty sufficient. I think it just had too much going against it.
Oh,
That had nothing to do with the actual movie.
Oh, sure. And I would really be interested to see what that original script was like.
Yeah, for real though.
But yeah, this movie was this is probably one of the best examples, of a recent movie that was really messed with by the studio.
Totally.
There was a lot of studio interference with this movie.
Yeah.
And for good and ill. But it would have been interesting to see what the original version was like before it all came crashing down.
Yeah, for real.
And also just to see what this movie would have been like if they released it the original plan was a year later. It was a year after Last Jedi, but someone's like, no, let's move it up to 6 months. And some people were like, whoa, maybe we shouldn't.
It probably could have benefited from 6 more months.
Oh, well, yeah, it absolutely would have.
Whew. Well, I think we fixed it.
We did fix it.
We nailed it. Got it.
We both had Boba Fett in our movies.
Look, sorry.
No time. No.
I apologize for nothing. I put Boba Fett in everything.
Sorry.
You're lucky that Boba Fett is in every single one of my fixes. Oh, how'd you fix Pride and Prejudice? Boba Fett.
Excuse me,
how
Mr.
would you
Darcy?
fix Eat, Pray, Love? It'd be Eat, Pray, Boba Fett. Boba Fett. Pray, love, damn it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. This is that's been our show.
That is our show.
If you're listening to this on any of the podcatcher places, if you wouldn't mind leaving us a nice little review, maybe talk about which classic novel you would put Boba Fett in your review, and leave us 5 stars. It actually goes a long way to helping the show out, helping people find the program. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell, and doing that YouTube that you do so well. You know how to be stewards to the internet. You like just do the thing, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and beg. You know, I'm not doing it.
Really?
No.
You sound like you're begging.
Please.
Right? Are you sure you don't want to beg, Jay?
We love making the show, and we love that you guys love this show as much as we love making it. And as we end every episode, heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
It's the slow shot that came first that you never see coming.
Greedo.
Yeah. I was surprised, to be honest. I was surprised Greedo wasn't in there somewhere.
Sure.
Somewhere.
Otogata solo.
Blah!
Also, Andor has a 96%.
I feel so much better now that you remedied that.
I understand I'm getting fired now.
You heard it here first. Brian's fired, everybody. Bye. Good night.